Hi there. To bring to an end our studies on the major scale, I'd like to show you a series of exercises that expand upon what we've learnt so far, and some methods of incorporating all of these techniques into your daily practice routine. Firstly, I'd like to show you a way of joining together the two shapes you've learnt so far to play the major scale. This little exercise will allow you to start thinking and applying the major scale beyond a typical 1-octave range, and again serves as a great way to unlock some more areas of the fingerboard. By now, you're hopefully well up to speed with your major scales, so to put you to the test, let's try this exercise in the key of A major. What I'd like you to do is start an A major scale on the 5th fret of the E string, but use the shape where we start on our index finger. Now, I expect you'll be able to recall the scale shape far easier than remembering the actual note names in this major scale. If this is the case for you, don't panic, but remember, it's actually highlighted an area of weakness in your own playing, and I suggest you work on this at a later date. Remember, always direct any practice towards any area of weakness. Doing this will in the long term make you a much stronger and well-rounded musician, I guarantee. And as we've previously learnt, knowing a few scale shapes on the fingerboard is never enough. We need to know and understand the notes contained within them. Okay, play along with me slowly up to the octave A, and we'll say out loud the note names found within an A major scale as we go. So, A is our root note, on to B, the major third is a C sharp played with the little finger here, D is the 4th note, the 5th is an E, on to the 6th, which is an F sharp, moving up another string, this time to play the major 7th with your index finger, which is the note of G sharp, and then we're on the octave A using our 2nd finger like this. Now from here, what I'd like you to do is start another major scale, and this time use the shape we learnt where we started from our 2nd finger. So continuing on from the octave A, we can go up to another B using our little finger like this, up to another major third, which is the note of C sharp here, onto another D, and then I'd like to finish on a high E using the little finger here. Okay, hopefully you can see that we've actually linked together our two major scale shapes, and by doing this it allows us to play up from the root note, through the octave, and on up to a high 5th. And if that wasn't enough, we've actually covered all this physical distance without even moving our fretting hand position. Watch again and I'll just go up and down using this new concept. And you'll see that by making use of good technique, we can efficiently play across the entire fingerboard on a 4-string bass with relative ease. Now it's your turn. Let's try this exercise with the metronome, and we'll go up and down through the exercise 3 times. To maintain a natural feel with the click, I'd like us to play the top and bottom notes of the sequence twice, once on the way up, and then again to begin the descending scale. Okay, after 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. The next exercise is a great way of developing your coordination and finger independency using a scale, and it's called skipping in thirds. Let's try it out using the familiar C major scale. Okay, to start with, we'll base the exercise around this major scale shape. At the heart of this exercise is the missing out of certain notes as we play up and down through the scale. So here's the sequence of notes we're going to play as we ascend through the major scale while skipping in thirds. Just try playing along with me. First we go from C to E, then D to F, then E to G, then F to A, onto G to B, then A to C. And to make this exercise sound a little more musical, we're going to finish by going B to D and then back to the octave C, just like this. Okay, let's just play up this new skipping in third sequence once with the metronome to get it under our fingers. So again, after 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's concentrate on playing this sequence in reverse. So, starting from the octave C, play along with me as we skip in thirds back to the root note. From C to A, then B to G, then A to F, onto G to E, then F to D, E to C, and once again rounding everything off musically by playing D, B, and back to C. Just take a moment now to get the skipping in thirds exercise under your fingers and run it slowly, both going up and down through the C major scale. When you feel comfortable with it, continue on and we'll play it together with the metronome. Okay, we'll skip in thirds up and down the C major scale twice in total. Again, to fit in with the click, please hold on to the octave C and the low C for twice as long each time you change direction. Ready? After 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Believe me, that exercise is a tricky one. But with practice, it will get easier. When you've mastered it in that position, try skipping thirds using the other major scale shape. Or for a real test, try skipping thirds using the new shape we learnt in the first exercise. This way you'll have to apply the technique across all 4 strings, and this alone in itself serves as a really good warm-up exercise. So just staying with exercises, I'd now like to share with you some ideas on how to practice all of the very different elements you've learned about the major scale so far. It's clear that eventually we should be working towards using any knowledge of scales to make and play music on the bass. But by developing a practice routine that focuses on better understanding the sound and workings of any scale can only help you to realise these goals. Next, I'd like to guide you through how I like to focus my practice using the major scale. And for your information, I'm going to play this series of exercises at 100 BPM, and feel free to try them out for yourself at whatever tempo you feel most comfortable with. Okay, so here's our click, and I typically start by simply running the scale up and down using both the shapes we've looked at. Then on to running the major scale while skipping in thirds. From here, I'll move on to practice the arpeggios, starting with the major arpeggio, and then moving on to playing a major 7th arpeggio. Something I find useful is running the major 7th arpeggio up, and then playing down an ordinary major arpeggio. And going back to the scale, I'd look at changing positions on the fingerboard to get more familiar with playing the same major scale in a different area of the neck. Here I can then explore playing the scale beyond a 1-octave range. Then finally using this position to skip thirds across all the strings up and down. And after this, well, use the scale in its different positions to start really challenging your own technique and ability, and have a go at creating your very own exercises. So, that brings us to the end of working on the major scale, and during this time we've looked into key signatures, scale construction, chord and scale tones, intervals, arpeggios, and from this session you've been shown some extra exercises to test both your understanding and your technique. Please feel free to recap any of the previous sessions so you fully understand and feel confident with the content, as repetition really is the key to success. Okay, our next area of study has strong ties to the major scale, so it's essential that you have a solid knowledge base to build upon. Don't forget, remember to experiment and work on the things that you find difficult, as practice really does make perfect. I'll see you in the next session.